We're on. You're going to start going? Okay.
We're going to call this Economic Development Committee meeting to order. It is October 2nd, 2025. We've got some great echo and we've got some great presentations ahead of us on this particular agenda. But first, as courtesy of the floor, is there anybody who would like to speak to the committee about anything? Seeing none, we're going to have our first presentation from the Bangor Public Library. Feel free to come on up to the podium, introduce yourself, and tell us all the great things happening at the Bangor Public Library. We've been having I would call it a series this year on various public libraries throughout Northampton County and the great work they've been doing, because libraries are such a hub for community activity. Very important. So.
Well, I want to thank you guys for letting me come and speak. I'm sorry I pushed it off so much. We've been a little busy and
all
crazy.
Good.
But my name is Kathleen Lynch. I'm the director of the Bangor Public Library. I'm also a resident of Northampton County and of the Slate Belt area. So I was a patron before I became a director 7 years ago. So not only have I lived in the community when it was going through its stuff, I've used the library with my children, but I now facilitate the same library. So it's kind of a cool thing up there. I did start off giving you a little bit of the history. I sent you stuff, but I don't have, sorry, never used a remote there. Wow. Well, let's pray. Technology never, okay, there we go. Sorry. I don't like public speaking. I can talk to you guys individually. I do it a lot, but it's just not my favorite thing on earth. And you're surprised considering I was a teacher for 15 years too. So just a brief history of the library. We were founded in 1921 by the Bangor's Women's Club. We were located, the first library was located on Northampton, North Street, First Street. Within the time period of 1935, we moved 3 times. We moved to the current building in 1940, and that current building was built in 1890. It was the original Merchants Bank, the very first Merchants Bank. And the president of that bank donated it back then to the borough once they decided to move down the street and make a bigger bank. But it didn't become that until then, but they was refurbished. And we are now 104 years old. We actually celebrated our 100th anniversary during COVID, so we had our anniversary after the fact. We've been around for a while. Okay. It's a little bit more. We serve about 22,000 population, but that's based on the 2010 census. And that is still what we report to the state because it's frozen with its formula is frozen within that structure. So it's probably a little bit more, but we base it off of the 2010 census at this time. We serve all of the Bangor area school districts, so that's East Bangor, Roseto, Portland, Upper Mount Bethel, I said Bangor proper, Washington Township, and we do grandfather. We are actually split Lower Mount Bethel between Easton and ourselves. The state doesn't recognize that, but we graciously take all the people from Bangor Area School District. We also serve the non-residents that don't belong to a state library. They have to purchase a membership, so that's like Portland, Wind Gap, what have you, even though they have their libraries. So we do serve the greater Slate Belt area. Some of the services we provide, which are quite a few, and we keep adding them for a library that's so small. We have books for all ages, all demographics, inclusion. We do interlibrary loan through the state, which is inside the state and throughout the country. And we just started about 2 years ago resource sharing with all of Monroe County, all of Lehigh Valley, and Lehigh Valley Carbon Library. So we share all our resources. So we have about 1.4 million items we can now provide to our clients and patrons, and stuff that I can't house for spacing, like video games or audiobooks, I can get from the bigger libraries and vice versa. So things that are, so it almost makes it like a virtual library as well. We have a really good relationship with most of those libraries, and we're trying to expand it a little further. But that gives us a little bit more. audiobooks, ebooks, digital magazines. We use Libby. We help people with large print, who are a lot of our seniors. We have a big senior population that uses the library too. Computer, internet access, we have that daily for non-residents. You can come in whether you have a card or not. We get a lot of people who have to print off their driver's license, their registration, answering emails as well. Faxing service, we're probably the only one in the area that still does a faxing service. We just got a new microfilm machine. I updated it with a grant that we got last year. So a lot of genealogy and that. So now it can digitize on the spot and do a lot more like that. I was very proud of that one because it took a while. That was a $9,000 grant I managed to get through the, I think it was the Mary Post Foundation. It took us 5 years to get that. So, and then we have copy machines and the like. So we have lots of people coming and going. Tables for people who are just passing through town, those kind of things. You're not gonna, there we go. So we have several different programs. We do Storytime Weekly. This is run, most of our programs are done by volunteers because we are strapped, our programming budget is very tight, so volunteers do it. Actually, one volunteer does it. She used to be a librarian. And a lot of the programs that I try and get are either free or the providers can work with our budget once I tell them that. So they're very generous with what I can get into the library. But we have story time, summer reading. We just had Aaron McNiddle. It was a UFO enthusiast ghost thing going on. We have book clubs for the adults. I probably skipped ahead a little bit. We used to have chair yoga. We have a very small space, but we like to try and utilize whatever I can. Our summer reading program this year was the most and biggest attended in the last 2 years, especially our little group kid. The small group kid, which is kindergarten through 4th grade, read 570 hours worth of books. For the summer, so it was really cool. And during our story time and our summer reading promotes early education, so it's almost like going to preschool. They start with a welcoming songs, themed each week, then there's several stories, some factual information, some moving around, and then a craft to close it off. So that's the basic theme of those programs. So if your kids, they don't go to preschool, we got a lot of the little ones that their parents come to do that. Some of our adult programs, as I stated before, our monthly book club that's run by volunteers, card making class, which is actually in 2 weeks, chair yoga, author visits. Sometimes we'll have besides local authors, we'll have, excuse me, gardening. I try to get my husband to do beekeeping, so we try and get the gamut that we can. Unfortunately, with us being small and our upstairs, a lot of people can't go up the stairs, so the programs are limited, but I'm always in looking for different things to bring into the community and see. We've had senior visits for healthcare, retirement, those things when they come free of the state. We try to utilize as much that's provided by the state when they visit the libraries or local. So to let our community know what's going on. And one of our biggest, actually this will be happening this weekend, so if you're available and you want to come visit us, up on 6/11, one of our biggest fundraisers right now is the Farm Jubilee. We celebrate our farming heritage in our community. And all aspects of the barn is just one of the biggest family-run companies now own their property, and for the last year and this year, they donate, they let us use their animals and their spots and their wine and all of that for free of charge. So we do emissions, there's crafts, there's piñatas, there's basket raffles. I think Smokey the Bear is coming this year. I do some reading. And it's just a good time for the family, the community to stop. It's usually like a $5 entry fee. But it's a good way to get the community out for the library and as well as celebrating our farm heritage, especially in the community with a lot of the farms that we still have. So that's one of our things. And that is this Sunday too. on 611 in Upper Mount Bethel. And then, and we also have a very good group, the Friends of the Bangor Public Library. These ladies and gentlemen help us. They provide services that the library can't always budget for. So we've redid our junior collection. They give us money for projectors. They'll pay for the summer programming. So things that can't be in our budget that we can't do. And they provide yearly 2 book sales to make fundraisers, their own fundraising. They do help author visits. We do coincide. And this year they're actually joining the board. In April, they're starting their first ever basket raffle. We're hoping that'll become a bigger fundraiser to draw more money and to close our deficit and to provide our staff so we can provide them with better services and that as well. That's us.
Fantastic work that you're doing. It really is. Just a quick question, the ILL, the Interlibrary Loan
Yes.
Program, you said you're trying to expand it.
So those are 2 programs, actually.
Okay.
So Pennsylvania starts what's called interlibrary loan, and that's
Right.
through PA Access. So that's if you have a little sticker, you can use those libraries that are not resource sharing, our partner libraries, and the partner libraries. And that Easton actually is our district library, so
Yep.
that facilitates it. So we look outside the state. We use the program that, we look outside the state and then inside the state in that program. And then if that program doesn't work, we do send it down to Easton and Lick. But the resource sharing, which we just started with the 3 counties, that's where each of the districts, Easton districts, I think Easton District and all that, we're trying to link all of, I don't know if it'll ever work, but each of our districts use Spark, some of the libraries. So across Pennsylvania, a lot of the districts have grouped together to be resource sharing. So right now, we go as far as Scranton. So we were looking into bringing it so that we're entirely down the whole one side. I know in the middle of Pennsylvania, some of the other libraries are doing the same kind of grouping, like resource sharing among themselves. And it really has hit it off. It not only expands our circulation, but it opens up other things that if we can't get them. And with, like my library, we're very small on shelving, so I have to diligently weed more than I care to keep the populous books that are new. So with them, if I have to pull an older author that's an older book, we can actually get it. We know it's in a bigger library. And sometimes we carry things that they may not because it's not totally popular for their population. But like sometimes our grouping up by us likes a lot more fantasy and YA. So we're a stronger YA in that. So we'll send it to a library that might not have that strong book. Or when book clubs have a popular book, you can't touch it for months. We're all sharing the book. So
Right.
it helps get what patrons in Pennsylvania, as well as in our communities, the items that they want.
You find it's a challenge because of the limited space that you have. You certainly want to continue to grow in certain ways. And that's really been a theme of a lot of the libraries that have come to present to us, is that it's not just about books, it's about various programming. Do you find it to be a challenge of wanting to progress and wanting to grow at a certain level or with certain programming, but having the limited space? Do you find that to be a challenge?
Yes, I say I have library envy sometimes. It's more because we love our building so
Yeah.
much, so we utilize it in small spaces. Being a teacher, as a school teacher, I knew how to manipulate space, so I do. The only thing I find with our library, being it's so old, we would love, we're bumped up against a creek. The stairs are the slate stairs are what's really the problem too, and the spacing. There was always a dream then. The friends always talk about building across the creek and putting up an elevator. We have a bank across the street that's now a hair salon. It was the Bank of America, and when I was hired, they said if money was no object, what would you do? I'm like, turn that into a library, a drive-through. But a lot of our patrons, including my husband, is very adamant. He's like, if you go to a bigger place, I'm not coming. If you go to a stuffy new building, I'm not coming. They like the way it is. And it has been more of a historical draw for non-people now. We get a lot of, oh, you're the Harry Potter building. That's kind of cool. So as much as I would love more space, the coziness that we feel. If I could figure out a way to like put offices or private little rooms in spaces.
Yep.
Yes, so it's a double-edged sword. I would
Gotcha.
love to fill it with books, but books aren't all, I mean, books are a thing and it's really great. I think more of my problem with programming is funding. We have a $28,000 deficit. All of us, including myself, are part-time. So I'm doing all my stuff, and I'll do it forever like that. But you can only spend so much for the state, which is required. But I've worked to try and close that deficit. So it's a hard juggle. Luckily, I seem to get a lot of things for free. I don't know if it's because I'm so kind or I understand. Could you maybe do this? And we've gotten a lot of stuff pretty much donated for us.
That's great. That's great. Does anybody on the committee have any questions about the library? What's going on up there? No? Thank you so much for the great presentation. We really appreciate it. You're a part of a community that's really important to this county, quite frankly. And we thank you for being here to let us know about the great things you're doing.
Thank you for lending me the time, too.
Sure. Thanks. All right. Next on our agenda is a presentation from New Bethany. I believe we have some staff from New Bethany. If they want to come up, Ms. Smith, I believe you're going to introduce them.
I'm happy to introduce them. We have with us today Mr. Mark Riddle, who is the Executive Director of New Bethany. We had a little glitch with an update on a PowerPoint presentation, so you've got a document at your space. He's going to kind of walk through that and perhaps come and show you some pictures of the project that they're doing. There is a resolution that will get passed forward to council tonight, so CED will be the pass-through for these two grants supporting this project. Thank you.
Mr. Riddle, thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Hello.
It's good to see you all. And I also want to point out our grants strategist is back here, Chris Cassidy, who might be one of the better ones in, I would say if there's a top 3 to 5 grants people in the Lehigh Valley, this is one right here. So the materials that we have are very good, but I'm assigned to talk to you. And I kind of did this thing on purpose where I can get an excuse. I asked permission. Do you mind if I walk over here? This is okay, right?
All right by me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is you just can't talk while you're doing it because you need to be in front of the microphone when you pick up the.
I'm going to show you a picture of where New Bethany is located on the south side of Bethlehem. There's a campus. You'll see an L shape. And I just want you to visualize where it is because I don't think people realize that we own 10 buildings. This is only about 5 of them, but I just want to show you so that you can get the context.
Gotcha.
And I always like to show that when I'm out with lunch with anyone, I can just pull that up quickly on a Google map because I think New Bethany started as a soup kitchen, really, and people don't realize we have 54 units of housing, that we do wraparound services and all of these things. And, there's a lot that has happened, especially since the pandemic, causing us to come before you today. So the project is a pass-through set of grants, and New Bethany will use these funds to construct 18 deeply affordable housing units in the spaces that I just showed you. We are either going to tear down or keep the facade, but we're going to fully reconstruct one of our buildings, and we're going to put both services and housing in that building, and then in a few other spots on our campus, we're also going to increase housing. We're getting really creative with our space, as is important for us to do, as we just heard in the last presentation. I'm just going to show this. This might be the last time, but these pictures are really great. The picture in the middle is a volunteer who saved us during the pandemic. She still volunteers with us today. She's our cook. and a close-up of the subsidized housing building with 7 units, and then pictures of our free grocery store, food pantry, a couple others. If you come to volunteer in our food pantry, you'll meet Cozy for sure. She's there every day. And we've been around for 40 years. This is our 40th anniversary. We provided hope and support to our neighbors experiencing poverty, hunger, and homelessness. And this is where you can refer to the sheet that you have in front of you. The presentation is basically written on the sheet. So some statistics, costs are going up. Food costs in the area have gone up by 10% just in the last year. 41%, that's rent since before the pandemic. So a really nice, interesting measure for me is to take any statistic in 2019 and compare it to now, because that's pre and post-pandemic, basically. So pre-pandemic and then post-pandemic, there has been an increase in homelessness. This won't be a surprise in the entire Lehigh Valley by 120%. It's over double. So I just want to bring out, like, what you are seeing isn't because we're seeing it now and caring more, is because there's more. And that's just the truth of the matter.
And Mark, really quick
yeah.
too, the homelessness that we do see
Yeah.
isn't, it's throughout the county, correct?
Yep.
It is throughout the county.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just in urban-based areas
Nope.
or rural-based areas. It's everything, even suburban areas as well. It's combined.
Yeah, we do a count where we go out physically to all places that we know where we can find people, which is usually tents, and you'd be surprised the number of shuttered big box stores where there's an encampment behind it, rural areas included, people in their cars.
Yeah.
And in fact, the less visible and centralized, the more likely you might see people. That's a really great point.
Thank you.
Yep. And which brings into question the capacity that not just New Bethany, but our community has to be able to take care of our neighbors. So for example, at one point last year, 4 out of 5 of the housing authorities across the Lehigh Valley, so there's one for each of the urban centers, and then each county has a housing authority, were actually closed to new clients. The Section 8 voucher lists were fully closed except for the Lehigh County Housing Authority at one point last year. So now they're starting to open up again, but just to give magnitude to how difficult it is to find housing. At New Bethany, we bring in a lot of partners to do services, because we're not an FQHC, we don't do health services, but we bring in street medicine, we bring in mental health services. However, the place to do it is really limited. We have one room that is both storage and also services. So for about 4 months of the year, we have to say no to many of the services. And just try to refer people if they can find transportation. And literally, street medicine works out of a truck on the street. So if someone needs a urine sample, they're doing it on the sidewalk, and they're walking inside, and they're carrying it around and going outside. It's completely unsanitary, and we're trying to look for safe and secure space to be able to serve our neighbors. And speaking of our neighbors, in the area that we serve, not including Lehigh University, so just outside of there, but South Bethlehem and also reaching over into the Pembroke-Marvine area, 30 to 44% of our neighborhoods, of the people in our neighborhoods live in poverty. 50% of the people who we serve identify as Hispanic or Latino. 20% rely on food, or 30% rely on food stamps or SNAP. Just a couple of statistics about who it is that we serve. We are serving twice the number of people than we did before COVID. When I arrived at New Bethany in 2018, about 40 to 60 people would come in for a hot meal for lunch. Now we're at between 80 and 100 regularly, and during some parts of the year, 100 to 120. There has been a 92% increase in our food pantry use. Again, when I arrived 7 years ago, 3 or 4 families, like a big day would have been 10 to 20 families. Now 20 families is the minimum and the norm, and sometimes up to 30 plus families. And that's every single day, not including the weekends. So we've had to double our staff. We've had to increase our capacity. We have 150 volunteers to run just the food services alone who come in throughout the year. A couple of the other statistics that I won't mention are on your sheet. But really the story is that New Bethany is ready to do more than offer these Band-Aid solutions for what really are very complicated social problems. We are a trusted organization. We have the relationships. We have convening power with partners. We have 24 partners ready to come in and do services even on a daily basis. And we have the expertise to take our offerings a step further, sort of to bypass a lot of these structural barriers to try and get more people rejoining society. And to do that, we do need to expand. So you'll see on your sheet, House, Heal, and Help. That's our platform for this project. You want to, just reading off the sheet even, house the most in need. We just purchased 2 additional properties. That's the Diocese building that I showed you. We did that in May of this year with 0 debt. We did not even take out a bridge loan, like no interest, no fees, no nothing. We have the property. And we are moving 13 staff and 2 programs into that building. And then that will allow us to use the other space that we're sort of moving out of to be able to transition it to other things. We're going to increase our housing stock by 50%. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll be able to serve more families. And if you look at well, I'll talk a little bit about the housing since I brought it up. The 18 new construction. Or the 18 new units is 14 of them are brand new construction. Those are efficiency apartments in one of those middle buildings in our sort of strip of buildings on West 4th Street. We have an office in our transitional housing building that originally used to be a 1-bedroom apartment. You can put a small family in there, so we're moving the office staff into the new buildings. We're going to turn that into prioritize families to be able to use that apartment. This is all called supportive housing, so you don't stay in these units forever. You stay from 1 to 2 years while you get onto waiting lists for either childcare or a waiting list for housing of some kind, and then you sort of move out, and we've been able to cycle people in and then out, and we need more places to be able to do that. And then we have a main office, and I moved out of our main office, and most of our admin staff moved out of our main office a couple of years ago. The bishop allowed us to sort of, for free, use his building. Now that we own that building, we're moving all of our caseworkers who took over our main office. I have to tell you, during the pandemic, it was, welcome to New Bethany, here's a laptop, go find some people and help them. Like, we did not have any space at all. One person, their office was actually in the comfort suites in the lobby for about 6 months, and they just sat there and they were there for the entire time, because we were housing people in the hotel at that moment as well. So we're going to convert that main office, after moving everyone out of it, into 3 more units. That's sort of where we get the 18 from. So every corner that we can find, we're going to turn into housing in one way or another. Heal. So Heal is the whole person. So that is the food, but it is also, I mentioned the free grocery store. You walk in, there are carts. We have a bagger at the end. Thanks to a state grant from the Department of the Environment, we have even one of those like spray, with the sprays in the grocery stores, and it comes down the produce stands. We have one of those. And we have produce because we have farm partners that will bring in produce and donate to us. But on top of all of that, we will have what we're going to call the New Bethany Health Hub. So yes, we're going to have the 14 efficiency apartments, but on the main floor, instead of that one room that we have to close down for 4 months of the year, we're going to expand the building. We're going to push it out using the space that we just purchased into the backyard, make the building larger. And we will have set-aside exam rooms. We'll have special rooms just for case management. We'll have rooms just for mental health services, help people with addiction services as well. And then we'll also have a waiting room where you can sort of talk to somebody and do what we call centralized intake. So now, instead of just like, I need food, I need underwear, honestly, is a very common request. I need toothpaste, I need to take a shower. You can come in, you can still get all of those things, but we want you to come to a central point where we can ask you enough questions if you're willing to answer them and actually send you to the other part. So literally, we're bringing people off the street into services inside. So it also cleans up the streetscape as well, which is kind of an important part. And so we'll call that the Health Hub. Like I said, we have a couple of dozen partners who are ready. We have an architect, and in the design phase, we surveyed and spoke with all of the partners who would be using the space to ask them what we would do. So before I mentioned about urine samples and traveling them around, well, the one health provider said, yeah, well, if you can get the exam room to be right next to a bathroom, you can have one of those windows pretty easily where you cut a little hole in the wall. And we literally changed our plans just to accommodate that. So talking with our partners was a really nice way to be able to figure out exactly what it is that we need. I won't show you the pictures, but I do have some photos of our caseworkers. But what's really interesting is that when a person can step out from, okay, I just had my meal and now I'm talking with a staff, if you set goals with the person and you're working with a caseworker, we have an 80% success rate for making sure you achieve those goals. Usually that includes housing. So sometimes it includes some other things that you need to do before you can get to the point of housing, and I'm very proud of our casework staff. This means that we have a potential for future capacity. I didn't mention, but we want to get to the point where this is physical, but after the physical, that means that we can expand our operations. We are 5 days a week. That doesn't work if you're going to have rains hit on a Saturday or a Sunday, or if there's a snowstorm on a Saturday or Sunday. And so we want to be able to offer day services on the weekends as well. So if we do all of that, and when we accomplish building this building, we should be able to move from 40,000 meals a year to 56,000 meals a year. We're moving from that 54 units that I talked about to 72 units at New Bethany in total. Case management, we could move from 200 people a year, which is now, to over 500 people a year. It's just a general expanse. I mentioned 2 dozen partners. That'll probably end up being 3 dozen. Once we have the space available, more people will be able to come in and use the services. And that is mostly the presentation. The other details are sort of in your resolution and all of that. I know there's different grants that we're sort of discussing. But if you have questions about the project proper, I'd be happy to answer them.
Really quick, with regard to the supportive housing that you talked about, Mark, families are prioritized, you said.
In some of the units, families.
Oh, in some of the units?
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to be clear
Correct.
about that. Look, I am hearing that there are so many individuals who do not have a place to live, yet they're working throughout the course of the day. I can't tell you how many folks I've heard about. They're waitresses or waiters,
Yep.
In the service industry throughout the course of the day. They're working, but they cannot. We talked about this on a recent podcast.
Yeah, if you've walked up and down the
on
canal
housing.
path,
Yes.
there's one in particular, it's not even a tent, it's a wooden structure. And it's huge. It won't be there after December 15th, but the person who lives there has a job and, just has tried with housing, and this is the situation.
Right.
So they just literally built.
That's why I wanted to
house.
ask about the
Yeah.
supportive housing.
No,
will
the
individuals have the opportunity to move
Yes.
in as well? Okay.
individuals, the main office will be 3 units, and that will only be individuals. The 1 family unit will be, so we use children and youth for our 12 family units that we have now, but we want to create more opportunities to go beyond the children and youth system. So sometimes you don't necessarily fit into having to call Childline for one reason or another, and we want to be able to help you as well. So the thing I really like is the flexibility of the new construction. So those 14 efficiency apartments, it's an efficiency, but that's really large when you can put a double bed in there, you could fit a crib in there. So no, you're not going to take a family of 5, but you could take 2 parents and a young child, or 1 parent and 2 young children. And so we can start to be more flexible, and it's safe and secure because you have your own bathroom, you're not sharing common space, you can lock your door, it's just you. You don't have to walk up and down the hallway, worry about other people. So right now we take individual people, but it's in a dorm room sort of style. And when you do that, like we have single women, for example, who are eligible to live with us but don't want to because you don't want to share bathroom space with single formerly homeless men, maybe because of stigma or maybe because of past experience. And so we really respect that and want to create space that is safe and secure for anyone.
That's why I brought it up, because I wanted to mention the good work that you are doing, that New Bethany is doing, because not that nonprofits are trying to necessarily get ahead of anything. We're already here in terms of homelessness and the issues that we're facing with homelessness. But in order for us to gauge it, you guys are really doing a fantastic job with it. You really are. I mean, when there are people who are working, you know, they're not just putzing around. There's the myth that people who are homeless just putzing around all the time, and it's not necessarily the case. And I think it's important for us to realize that as we're supporting projects and we're supporting nonprofits that are embarking on these type of things, and the fiscal realities of what you're all dealing with as well, which is why I'm going to be supporting
I
this
appreciate
resolution
that.
tonight.
You kind of touched on one other topic that I'll bring up, which is that we know who the priority people are now. So sometimes it's individuals, sometimes it's families, sometimes it's single women. It varies from time to time. But if these units are flexible in this way, 20 years from now, when the landscape changes, we'll still have safe and secure apartments for whoever it is that needs those units at that time as well.
Right.
And because we own it, we could change the model. Right now, it's a 1 to 2 year program. Maybe we'll change it to something different based on what the need might be at the time.
And it's not a permanent program either. It's
Correct.
really, this is, I always hate the phrase, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It drives me crazy, especially in the foster care world that I work in. You got to have the bootstraps in order to pull yourself up, and that's what you're providing,
That's
essentially,
correct.
the
Yeah.
bootstraps here.
Yeah. Now, you have to make your own decision, but everyone who comes to live with us has chosen to live with us and that kind of thing. So,
Right.
any other?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions from the committee?
I guess just generally, since you're kind of seeing the homeless community and seeing the direction it's trending in, do you see anything that's going to change in the way of making it better from the Lehigh Valley standpoint? Do you see any changes coming locally that are going to help us, or is it going to continue to get worse?
I can't see it getting worse. I have to say, it's bad right now. I mean, it's over twice the number of people who are looking for services, and that is not a comment on the current presidential administration. This was true in December of last year. Like, just the circumstances in the world have caused this to happen at this point in time. Could it get worse? Possibly, but I think I'm sorry. I want to get to the core of your question. Can you repeat? Yeah.
I guess,
sorry.
I'm looking at it. Almost looks like there's going to be not a housing bubble burst, but like prices have to come down.
Yeah.
Interest rates are coming down. Like typically when you see those metrics change, I'm assuming the homeless issue gets.
Yes. So yes, thank you. So what I want to say is that the network of homeless service providers, like the organizations that probably many of them come through these doors, are really good at working together. The Lehigh Valley works so well together, at least in this sector, I think in other sectors, but especially in this sector, that when the state was doing they were doing this listening tour, going from region to region on the governor's housing plan, and we got about 40, 50 people into a room at the Lehigh campus, and we were saying, we need more resources, we need this, we need that, and they said, yeah, but actually, can you tell us how it is that you work so well together, because we want to take those strategies to other parts of the state. So I think what I have to say is that we know what the solutions are, but we don't have the resources to be able to do those solutions. So I think if more resources can be put into all of those different types of either health services, mental health services, yes, housing itself, maybe if it's the bubble and that crashes or something like that. But I think with an injection of more resources at this moment in time, the issue you're not going to get rid of homelessness, but you can get to the point where it's a little bit more the way that it was back in a day where we remember it was nicer, like a pre-pandemic sort of phase. So I can't predict anything, and so therefore I'm kind of like being a little philosophical, but if the community of providers right now had more resources, the problem would diminish greatly, even in the current economic environment.
More resources being more money, right?
More money, yeah. We need more caseworkers. I'm fully understaffed and I'm going paycheck to paycheck. So, and we're doing everything that we can to be able to, for a lot of these grants, you have to hire extra people just to manage the grant itself. And I don't mean manage the grant from an administrative standpoint, but manage the way the finances work to be able to make sure you're tracking each case to each grant in a fiscal sort of way. And that takes a lot of work and accountability. So that alone, much less the fact that there's twice the number of people coming in. And so now we need caseworkers and even more caseworkers to be able to manage the issue.
Yeah, I think that's a recurring theme at every level of government right now. And it's just unclear exactly how it's going to get settled, but thank you for the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for the question.
Any other questions from the committee? No? Mr. Riddle, thank you so very much.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Great presentation. Thank you. All right, as we're moving along with the agenda, we do have a presentation from River Crossing YMCA. Ms. Smith, I know you wanted to say a few words here before introducing them.
Sure. Today we have with us Ms. Kate Cohen from the River Central Y. She brought some staff along with her. Again, you've got handouts at your spot. There's a lot of really good projects happening. There's a lot of work going on at the Nazareth branch specifically. So she's going to give you an update of what's to come.
Good afternoon. Oh, I'm so short. Let's try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for having us here today. We're very, very excited to be here. So as Tina said, I love Tina, thank you so much. I'm Kate Cohen. I'm the Vice President of Institutional Advancement here at River Crossing YMCA, which before July 1st of last year, you knew in this region is Greater Valley YMCA. I'm joined today with Trish Feintel, our Chief Operations Officer, and Crystal Messer, our VP of Operations in the region, to share a little bit more with you on a couple of fronts. We want to reintroduce ourselves as River Crossing YMCA, which we think is a very clever name because we cross many rivers in delivering our mission program services, as well as talk a little bit more about some exciting visionary work that we have going on in the Nazareth region of our YMCA support system. So I'm going to turn it over to Trish and Crystal.
Does somebody click this along for us? Do they click it? Or do we click it? Ah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for your time. Again, Trish Feintel, Chief Operations Officer. I have the privilege of sharing the impact and mission and some key points of River Crossing YMCA from the association model, if you will. So thank you for that introduction, Kate. So which way do I go? Ah, here we are. So just at a glance, and I know that you all have this in front of you, the stats are there in terms of our growth, right, that you can see that we're serving over 140,000 individuals, as well as our childcare centers, school-age childcare centers, the impact, the dollars we are giving away through financial assistance. But what I will share with you, what is not necessarily listed here, but more felt in our hearts, is what it is that we are doing for the staff of River Crossing YMCA and for the communities that we serve. So with this association model, we have been able to lift our staffing teams. Just in one example, our human resources and our marketing and our development teams through merger have increased. We're able to scale. We're able to bring far more meaningfulness into the work that we do, so that our staff, who are not with us today but serving mission as I speak, are able to do the good work that they do. Oftentimes when we merge with, this is our fourth merger, when we merge with local YMCAs, one of the biggest pieces that we like to lift is what our staff feel in terms of wearing multiple hats, right? So I am a child care director, but I'm also cleaning, or I'm also working at the Welcome Center. So with merger and having that strength of the overhead, we're able to put our staff into the right positions to serve mission and what brings them joy, and then of course brings the community's joy. So with that, we're able to serve. One of the pieces that we really want to stress is as we grow, it is so important to us to remain local. So we are in 4 counties, we are in 2 states. As you can see, 12 membership branches. We served close to 7,000 individual campers this summer, but it's just super important to us that in that growth, that local feel and that community need is addressed. And you can see that in different examples of our impact here. And that comes through, let me go back. And that even comes through, as I mentioned before, in our mission work like summer camp and childcare, but also the warming station, for example, in Allentown. So with the strength of this merger, we have staff in other counties that are also serving mission in similar ways and perhaps learning from the Allentown staff and how they're serving the warming station. And then how do we then take that great work and then roll it out across all of the areas that we serve. The other piece is our pathway program. So something very unique and individualized to River Crossing YMCA are our pathways. You can see them listed here. These are all donor funded, partnership funded, if you will. Every single pathway that you see listed falls under the same model that we want to help bring an individual into the Y. And through a 12-week program, we hope that they come out better, stronger, and more fulfilled on the other side. And what I mean by that is what we've learned is whether you are a cancer survivor, if you're a veteran, if you're a teen who is 7th grade who's been allowed to go home alone for the first time, or even someone who's just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, we have a pathway program for you that follows the same model. We surround you with staff and trainers and nutrition and stress management. And again, at the end of the 12 weeks, which is a complimentary membership, that individual is now connected to community, connected to the Y and Stronger. We have brought pathways to the Lehigh Valley, our Veterans Pathway being one of them. Of course, 7th grade membership, our Thrive Cancer Wellness Program, and a true joy this summer was our Safety Around Water program, which I'm sure you saw, again, out of Allentown, and all of our, able to partner with the Boys and Girls Club and just lifting these swimmers, if you will, and making sure that they are swim safe. On a tactical level, we've been able to increase services from cleaning to increased programs, you name it, all comes again with that strength of merger. So again, Association Glimpse, we're here. We're so proud to serve. It's important to us to remain local. We're going to keep doing this good work of our pathways. And I'm going to pass it over to Crystal, who's going to talk specifically about all the great work happening right here in Lehigh Valley.
Thank you. Crystal Messer, Vice President of Operations. I've been with the YMCA for 18 years in several different capacities, but now in operations. So in addition to some of the things that Trish shared, specific to the Lehigh Valley, we have the 6 branches. Kate's going to be my Vanna, which will be wonderful. All of our 6 branches, our newest branch, which is 10 years old this year, is the Slate Route branch located in Penargil. One of our newest branches that even during COVID was able to get a pool, which they had greatly wanted. Also add to it a gym and some of those pieces with expansion for camp and even preschool childcare. So with that information, we've also been able to expand on our senior hub programs. So focusing on our active older adults, we see that in all of our branches, including specifically to our Nazareth branch and our Slate branches. Over 125 seniors are served specifically through this senior hub, which is supported by the United Way grant funding, in addition to other supporters like Green Knights in that local area, Waste Management. To help our seniors not only combat loneliness, which we realized during COVID, we all survived through that, but during COVID we realized that when we took away some of the social aspect of things, it really hurt people not only mentally but also physically. So we've now allowed that to happen within our branches, figure out how do we get our seniors together so that they are not feeling lonely as they have empty nesters or have spouses pass away, and build relationships outside of the home, which has been a huge enhancement. In addition, with these seniors hubs, we also will do healthy feeding. So we feed the seniors every week. At every branch, you will find, that holds a senior hub, you will find healthy meals, you will find healthy recipes, you will have the seniors that are either not only partaking in the food, but sometimes growing the food in some of our public community gardens. I just looked at one of our Suburban North branch and just brought in a huge bushel of plum tomatoes, and the seniors were so excited to go home and make sauce today, so it was fantastic. In Nazareth specifically, you can go there any morning, Monday through Friday, and you will see our seniors gather. So with our senior hubs, not only do we combat loneliness and healthy food, but we also do healthy living. They exercise together. They will gather in our lobby if you've been at the Nazareth Y, and see them gather for coffee, and then make plans for lunch after they work out or after they swim. It's a huge impact. What we know most about our impact is the stories that they tell, and I'm going to share a brief story for you about one of our Nazareth members who lost her husband about 1.5 years ago, didn't know what she was going to do. The house was officially empty, and she was a little bit empty inside. She chose to join the Y, which was huge, hoping that she could just get outside of the house and do some physical living and some physical exercise and maybe make a few friends. And she is one of those ladies, her name is Beth, that you can find her in the lobby Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right before Sitter-Size Zumba, getting ready with a group of ladies and gentlemen that have all experienced loneliness in their own way. So she is now healthier, she is now happier, and if you've been in Nazareth, you see all of the beautiful storefronts, the coffee shops, the lunch places, the breweries. All of that is there that makes Nazareth so special and unique. And Beth has been able to capitalize on that personally and build a community in Nazareth that has been a huge impact on her life. Few more pieces just to speak about. At our senior hubs, we also do food boxes. So not only do we teach some of the food and the lessons that we're learning, but we also give them food to take home. In those food boxes, we partner with, out of Philadelphia, local growing pantries, and they bring in everything from potatoes to vegetables to cabbage to onions, anything else, and the seniors will come in and leave with a box of food that if you and I went to the grocery store would cost you well over $20, $25, $30, freshly and locally grown in Pennsylvania. Our Nazareth memberships were over 665 members just last month, and as we know and see trends in the YMCA, over the summers, our numbers dip down a little bit. People travel, they put their memberships on hold, so we're only looking to grow as September enhances, and then over 500 of those are insurance-based memberships. So we have the 665 that are regularly paid monthly members, and then we have an additional 500 plus that come in that have insurance membership base. And these are all from young adults to seniors.
So I'm back. So we're really excited today to reintroduce ourselves to all of you to talk about the ways that this merger and living as River Crossing YMCA is helping us get bigger to serve better smaller. We specifically wanted to share one of our exciting new visions that is coming out of this increased financial capacity, this increased strategic partnership, best practices, and learning from a big association to be able to inject resources into the community. So we are getting really excited about our new vision for the Nazareth YMCA, which is why you heard Crystal talk so much about the impact that we're having in Nazareth. This project has been a long time coming. It was first kind of dreamed about 4 years ago, which really came out of a local need from the pandemic for things like more childcare, for spaces and third places for people to connect and feel less disconnected, feel less depressed, be able to reinvest in their health together. And then through doing that, I'm going to take this note. Thank you so much. So sorry. And then through doing that, we've really grown in our vision for the community. So there was such an excitement and early investment from our Nazareth community in this project, in reinventing and reinvigorating our Nazareth Y. The original part of the Nazareth Y was built in 1918, so it's been serving mighty hard for over 100 years. And while we've been able to keep spaces and places in the building as flexible as possible as we head into a new century and a new era of need for the Nazareth community that's growing so very fast, as we all know, it's time for us to serve better. And so we are getting ready to renovate that whole building in this rehabilitation effort into a visionary, thriving downtown boutique Y. Our leadership and our leader donors that 4 years ago were invested in the project are even more invested now, more than ever before. Instead of just looking at one area of the Y to renovate, we're really looking at the entirety of the footprint, because we know and we've seen as we've come together as an association and learned over the last 4 years that Nazareth needs more than just X from before, whether that was childcare or one more space for community meeting. Nazareth needs a lot more support. Our valley needs a lot more support in a place for community to come together, feel connected, feel healthier and well. And so our donors are really excited about that. They've stayed next to us. They've invested even more. We know, given the amount of senior usage and the fact that the Lehigh Valley is aging twice as fast than the rates of Pennsylvania, that the building needs to be ADA accessible, which it was not previously in 1918. So we're working on aspects around that. We're going to share more with the community in the next couple of weeks, but we wanted to come here first, as Tina and so many at the county have been so supportive of figuring out our vision, this journey, what makes sense for the community, how we can best serve, how we can best partner, how we can best vision together. And so we wanted to come share it with you first. We have over $7 million raised for this project, and that is so much due to the initial support, how generous this valley is, and how visionary those in Nazareth and around that really care in the valley have been with us. And so we're really excited to share more as we go down, but we wanted to come here first to the county to let you know about this exciting project and to thank you for the partnership. I'm going to turn it back over to Trish and Crystal to talk about some of the specific aspects that we're planning to come to Nazareth, again, with much more to come to the community in the coming weeks. I know in front of you, you have packets as well that detail our impact from the last year, that talk about all of our facilities and community locations. It just scratches scratches the surface is what the Y is doing. We're so much more than a place to swim and go to the gym, although we have all of those things. We're really a place where people feel seen, heard, and supported. Okay, so all the things we're bringing.
And we'll make this brief in wrapping up. So I'll take the community and the health and wellness side, and then Crystal, please, will lean into the childcare and the school-age childcare side. So if you can picture when you walk into the Nazareth Y, number one is an expansive lobby, a welcoming lobby. You will not need to be a member to enjoy the lobby and enjoy that spirit of community. We will have a cafe there as well, which we plan to outsource in partnership. Also new and coming is a state-of-the-art wellness center. What we love so much about the existing branch is the windows, right? And overlooking the downtown and that spirit of a vibrant community. So just imagine whether you're taking a yoga class or maybe you're on a treadmill with your book in your ear, but you're overlooking that vibrant downtown. The community room, as Kate spoke to, will be open to our partners. If they need a space for conference setting, educational trainings, et cetera, that will be open to all there. And then our locker rooms. So as it's very important to us for safety for all in our locker room spaces. One of the things that we're seeing is the need for what we call family locker rooms or now private changing stations. Nazareth has a lot of locker room space, so what we are doing is shrinking the footprint of our adult locker rooms while increasing the private changing space stations, if you will. Gymnasium to be revitalized, the pool to be revitalized, and just the final piece in all of our health and wellness offerings is the mental health aspect. So something that we're bringing through our mental health task force is there will be opportunities for meditation and yoga, so much so that within our walls there will be meditation pods. If you have not seen them, please Google it. But it's a great place to go in and just unwind, headset on or off, and just feeling as if you can strengthen in what we always know, spirit, mind, body, but really leaning into the spirit. Our programs will be increasing dramatically. Our swim team athletes will still be there. And then we're so proud to say that we are increasing childcare services. And then I'll turn that over to Crystal.
As Tricia already shared, increasing childcare has been very important to the Nazareth branch. We have had to outsource it in the past couple years due to the construction. We've recently brought school-age childcare back, which services 4 schools in the Nazareth School District, busing the children to and from the Y. What we haven't had in the existence of Nazareth is a licensed preschool. We've had nursery schools, we've had some preschool programs, but this will be a licensed preschool program servicing children ages 3 and up, preparing them for kindergarten readiness, some of the mental health pieces that go with that, and preparation. So we're looking to add that in for the first time, and with this project, we'll be able to see that.
Okay, so we're happy to answer any questions. This is just scratching the surface of what there is to come from the Nazareth Y and all of our Y presence in the Lehigh Valley. We'll be bringing new community spaces to this project. We'll be bringing new mission programs to this project. And again, through our combined shared service, we're able to better serve the Nazareth community now and for decades to come to remain financially sustainable and visionary, hopefully, in our approach of what the Y means today and tomorrow. Thanks.
Fantastic presentation. Really, the work that you're going to be doing is going to be so critical to the Nazareth community. And a couple questions. How, with what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be implementing, even from a programming perspective, how are you planning to do that outreach within the community itself?
So one of the pieces that we have with mergers and scaling, we have association leadership that leads sports and play, aquatics, et cetera. And so again, in keeping the brand and the program succinct, those programs come from the association level. They're delivered to the branches and then rolled out. Junior Sixers is one of them. It is a thriving basketball program that is consistent among all of our branches. As I mentioned before, with the robust staffing from our marketing team, we have the marketing potential to get the outreach out to the communities we serve, that these programs are in fact happening. With our development team, we have the financial assistance to be able to support families who might not be able to afford those programs. And then, of course, our staff who receive the training and the leadership from the association to roll them out. I don't know if I'm answering specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in every merger and in every decision we make, we have these filters that we run through. There's 7 of them. Number 1 is is it fulfilling a community need? And second, is it sustainable? Do we have the resources to pull it off and to pull it off well? So that'll come into play with those programs.
I asked too
Yeah.
because usually with mergers, and it's not just with regard to nonprofit, community-based mergers. It's even on even on a corporate level, you have mergers, and there's always challenges, and there's challenges in terms of outreach and what folks are going to be offering. So, have you had any of those programming-based challenges that you are really going to be needing to address in the future? Not that you need to go into detail too much, but
No,
I
it's
just
interesting.
wonder.
It's not, it's so important that we listen to the community. Like, I'll give you an example. It sounds silly, but it's not if you're a member. So there's a group exercise class called Shine. Our members love it. That is a Lehigh Valley, one of the 6 branches that we spoke to. That is a unique program that is from that community. So of course, in merger, you come over and you go, Shine, right? Like, what is that? We don't offer that. And so, but it's important, we sweat the detail. You don't want to come in and make swift cuts just because it might not fit the brand of what you're used to, but you
Right.
want to learn, like,
Yeah.
what is it about this program? And now Shine's going to be coming over to the Bucks Hunterdon side because it is so popular with the seniors. We do evaluate, and we see it. We evaluate attendance, we evaluate impact, and sustainability, and that's really what it comes down to. But just always trying to make sure we're hearing like what's local. And then how do we pass on the learning? Like Pop Up and Play is a great example of something not happening in Bucks County and Hunterdon County, but man, do we love it, where the Y just shows up and we feed the children and we play with them and mom and dad get that respite. So that will move over to the other side of River Crossing, if you will. So there's a lot of sharing of strengths, but we also do have to be mindful of, again, we're constantly assessing impact and attendance, right? Like if we're gonna pay someone to be there, is it making the impact that we're looking for? Don't always make everybody happy in those decisions, but it's how we sustain as well at the same time.
I think
Yeah,
the
please.
child. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to add to that too, in terms of community partnerships from that lens, not just the staff that between Crystal and I and Trish have been serving the Y for probably over 100 years. I don't even think that's off too much, but we also have made sure along the way that we've continued to keep in touch with the county partners, with the mayor and the borough, with our elected officials, with our community partners at health networks, and even the Memorial Library and the farmers market, because they're using our Y as they're doing Main Street things too. So we have talked as we've developed this plan, what do you need? What trends are you seeing? I keep pointing back to Tina because I'm like, we've had at least a couple conversations over the last couple of years about that. So we want to make sure that we're co-creating it too. This plan, what you'll hear in the next couple of weeks, it's not just something that we've come and said, this is what we're doing. This is many years of conversations in the making.
Yeah. The childcare aspect of what you're doing from programming, I think is absolutely critical. Not just for the Nazareth community. Like, I wish we could have it everywhere, especially preschool programming as well. When I was on the Hanover Township Board of Supervisors at our community center, we were able to save the preschool program because it was getting ready to go under. But the critical nature of that and what it does for families, what it does for a community in general, is so very important. So how do you see, I know you touched on it, but the preschool program, how do you see that manifesting and the need really for it, if you don't mind?
So in addition to what Kate has already shared, that we've had all of these community partners, we also worked with and outsourced some of the information to grab data of what Nazareth needs. So we looked at real estate, we looked at the census for the area, we looked at where and what is developing. Are there families moving into Nazareth? Are there new developments? Where is that happening? What is taking place? Is there enough childcare? So we've done the research and pulled all that in together and recognized that, similar to what you've already said, childcare is definitely a need. And knowing that the Y hasn't done it in Nazareth, but has successful models as being one of the leaders in childcare in the nation, we've decided to duplicate it there as we've seen the development and the people come to that area with the need. We've learned that the social piece to getting ready for kindergarten is really essential. That doesn't always happen organically. Sometimes you have to be a little more specific to it. So with that research, we've pulled that together. So there is childcare in that area. We pride ourselves on having quality Star 4 centers in the Lehigh Valley. We have some in Easton. We have them locally in Bethlehem, we have them in Allentown, and now we're going to bring the same structure and expectations right into Nazareth.
And my wife's going to be very happy to hear about the preschool program. She's the elementary school counselor at Schaefer Elementary School.
Oh,
So she's
yes.
going to be very happy to learn about this and that's programming that's going to be available in the community. So.
And we also run pre-K counts programs. So if you're familiar with pre-K counts, which is free preschool for those families that are at risk, youth, families low income, they have to meet age requirements. Nazareth doesn't always fit that mold. However, families are willing to travel. And when you provide a quality program, we've learned that no matter where you put it, people will take the time and the energy to show up there. So Nazareth is an opportunity for that potentially in the future as we get this project underway.
This is exciting. It really is. Does anybody from the committee have any questions? Mr. Giovanni?
Good to see you too.
Okay, long time no see. I got a question. What's happened with the Salkin project?
Not to Trish.
Okay. So we have, as you know, a fundraising group in Saucon. We have community leaders that really want to see a Y come to life in Saucon, and so do we. We did step into this a little bit with managing the Salico pool. I'm sure if you've heard or not, but River Crossing YMCA did manage that pool this summer with the hopes of possibly building a YMCA right there in Living Memorial Park. Doesn't seem as if that's going to be viable. We remain in conversations with Upper Saucon. I know the library site is the initial site that was gifted to the Y to build, but in conversations as early as Monday, we're looking at possible other land sites as well. We know we want to be there. We know that there's a need there. We need land and partners. Is that fair, Kate? Yeah.
Yeah, no, when I was on the board, the community was pretty much wanting that happening. I mean, and I've been off the board, 9 years, so.
Still exploring the best way to make it happen. Times change as post-COVID world, Still exploring the best way to make it happen. Times change in the post-COVID world, but we're still committed to it, and we want to do it smart, and we want to do it sustainable.
Nazareth does need an upgrade, no doubt,
Yes, yes, indeed.
especially the front of the building.
Actually, Nazareth will be our first downtown Y in the portfolio of River Crossing YMCA, so we're super excited about it, really. Can't wait.
Fantastic. Anybody else from the committee have anything? Yeah. Ms. Keegan?
So thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to say that the YMCA offers classes, especially for seniors, and you're probably one of the only groups that does do that. Gyms, there's lots of gyms around, but they don't offer classes. And my mother has been going to the Easton YMCA for probably 12 years, and she used to go 5 days a week with all her friends, and they cut classes. So now she only goes 3 days a week. And when you talk about seniors and you talk about them needing to move and stay, exercising, cutting those classes was something that was really disappointing for them. And so I just want you to think about, I know you had said that you look at attendance and you take that into account, and I get all that, but classes are not easy to go to, especially because gyms have a lot of weights and stuff like that, treadmills, but they don't offer classes in YMCA's. Is probably one of the only places around. So just maybe keep that in the back of your mind.
Can I just respond to that? Can I ask, are they water aerobics classes or are they land classes?
No, they were land classes.
Yeah, so the attendance piece is that piece. So in having 6 branches in Lehigh Valley, it's interesting because our members, I'm an Easton member, I'm a Bethlehem member, I'm an Allentown member, but what they don't realize is they are a combined region. One of the things that we needed to do this year in Lehigh Valley is bring in commercial cleaning as well as increase some staffing practices for safety. So when you make those decisions around compliance and safety and procedures, then we look at, as you know, how do you balance that budget? Completely understand the need for the classes. We did have to make some changes based on enrollment. However, I don't want to, in about a month, we'll be able to celebrate some big things that are specifically coming to Easton. Just not yet, because we're writing the budget to get them approved, but part of that will be improved services, especially around classes in health and wellness. So thank you. We know, also want to keep it safe and keep it clean too. So please let her know and pass on my information, because we do find when we talk to our members about the decisions that we're making, when they understand what's been at stake, capital repairs, as I mentioned, cleanliness and safety, they meet us in the middle, but we're only going to get better from here. And so thank you for that feedback. We appreciate it.
Any other questions for Mr. Giovanni?
Your membership is still, if you're a membership of your Y, you can go anywhere nationally, right?
Yes, you can. Yes. Yeah, it's huge.
All right,
We
thank
do
you.
actually try to encourage that cross-pollination.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. I very much appreciate it. And we were going to be adjourning, but I'm going to put Ms. Smith on the spot. She had absolutely no idea I'm doing this. Can you really quick just talk about the Digital Navigator program from yesterday and how awesome it was, the turnout that we had yesterday for that, the folks that we helped?
Sure.
Because seriously, it's good work. Good government work was happening yesterday in our community, and it's important for people to know.
Yeah. So if you didn't see, we were happy to receive some positive press. Yesterday, our Digital Navigator Coalition had a tech training at ArtsQuest. We were able to do so through AARP Community Challenge grant that our DCED office was able to secure. And we work with the host school district. So the Bethlehem Area School District came in, they brought students, they brought staff, and people came with their devices. We were able to sit and give them individual attention, whether they were having trouble with a health app or a spreadsheet or social media, whatever it was. We were able to work with them to take care of those immediate issues and questions they had. In addition to that, the county has the repurposed device program. So yesterday we gave out 10 laptops and 17 cell phones that are county devices that have been cleaned and repurposed back into the community. So they love it. Predominantly senior, based, but we don't discriminate. Anybody's welcome to join us. Yesterday was the 5th training that we've done throughout the course of the year, and we will be doing one more before the year end at the Bangor Senior Center.
If people are wondering, like, all right, what's going on at these workshops? I mean, me being there and seeing it up close and personal, and I helped this one lady, had to be in her 70s. She simply wanted to be able to get on her Wi-Fi on her brand new laptop so that she could order groceries to her home, because it would be easier for her from a transportation standpoint and just have the groceries delivered. And she said, I'd really like to pay my bills online. And we were able to work through some things, showed her how to get on the internet, what she would need to do in order to connect to her Wi-Fi at her place. And at the end of the day, she understood. She was writing everything down that she needed to do when she got home. But it's going to make a real difference in that individual's life. And it wasn't just me. It was several individuals. Folks from the AARP, Bethlehem Area School District were there as well, helping. And those are real tangible results that our county government provided yesterday. I wanted to just highlight this because we don't hear about these good stories a lot, and it's an opportunity to do so. So anyway, thank you,
Well,
Ms.
thank
Smith.
you. Thank you for
Appreciate it.
participating too.
Yep. Does anybody have anything else for Economic Development Committee? All right, we'll adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Is that where we met at the Slate Belt YMCA? You remember when we were